gotta do something. There's a gremlin on the side of the bus.
Hey, there's no monster.
You're deceptive.
Welcome back to Bitch I Ain't Scared, episode 21.
21.
Our baby is 21.
I know, I'm so proud.
We would have had a drink, but we're between paychecks. So, how are you doing, Rob?
I'm doing good. It's a nice day out. I'm always excited for recording day, so.
Yes. So, I saw an article and I did not explore it further. Maybe I didn't get the right impression, but I think what they were trying to do was say it's cute. I just saw the picture on Facebook of this article and it says, oh, this might change how you look at spiders. They have paws. But the picture is of like the end of the spider leg, and it's like this little furry leg. There are two little claws protruding from it.
Okay.
That's not fucking cute. So it's like, this ruined my life. I mean, I know that they have to like latch on to things and be able to like crawl, but it's not cute.
I can't believe you even looked at it.
Well, it came across my feed. Somebody had reacted to it. You know, when you see that shit, it's like, so-and-so reacted. And I was like, I mean, I could look at it because it doesn't show me the entire spider, but still, now I know that there are like these two sharp claws underneath that fur. So fuck that shit.
Just to give you more reason to hate them.
I don't hate them, but they're just scary.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, well, that makes it worse. I didn't know that tidbit, so.
Well, now you guys know too, so watch your back.
Yeah. Was it only on a specific spider, or is that general?
And it's like I didn't read the article because I was if I open this article, I know the first thing I'm gonna see is like 8 eyes looking at me.
Yeah.
And like those. I don't want it.
Yeah.
Can't do it. So if you guys read the article, whatever. I can't do it. I'm not brave.
Yeah.
This weekend, I'm gonna ask you a question. What do Shannon Purser from Stranger Things, Angela Bassett, and Neve Campbell have in common?
Remind me which one was Shannon Purser. Oh,
Barb.
Barb. Okay. So Barb,
Angela Bassett,
and Neve Campbell.
This is kind of like that question from Scream. Which door am I at?
I know.
You're not going to be able to answer the question. So I saw all of them.
You are kidding me.
No.
Over the weekend?
Yes.
Why do you... Ooh, that bass. Why do you always get to do that? That is not fair. You always get to see these cool people.
I know. So, Angela Bassett. I mean, we all know that she's a gorgeous woman, and did she just turn like 59 or something? But honestly, TV doesn't do her justice. She's the bomb.com.
Yes.
I mean, those arms are no joke.
I already know. You wonder if she's still working out with those
She has to be. She has to be. Or, well, I mean, she's vegan. So, kids, go vegan. And I went on break. And when I came back, my supervisor was like, so, just to let you know, Neve Campbell's in the building. But when he said that, my brain processed Naomi Campbell. And nothing against Naomi Campbell, but I was like, I don't care about supermodels. That's great, but you're talking to the wrong person. And then my brain came back and was like, he said Neve. And my face sort of like contorted, and I couldn't speak. And I was like, oh, I'm having a meltdown right now. So he's like, if you want to get her on your podcast. I was like, no. Clearly, I shouldn't even be near her because I can't even, like, function. Just the thought of her being here. But I did see her leave, and she walked by. I was like, oh, my God.
You really didn't want to speak to her?
Of course I wanted to.
I would think she'd be the type of woman who would actually be like, hey,
she probably would have, and I've heard everyone has always said, she's very gracious and wonderful. But I just couldn't do it.
Did you notice anybody else sort of fangirling over them?
No.
Because if you were one of the few, and also as an employee, you could have just been like,
exactly.
Is your stay here okay?
I know, but I was just I was so overwhelmed. But
that's just one of those moments, though. Like,
I know.
if she only knew what we had said about her 2 weeks
I
ago,
know.
that's the thing. It's like, at least listen to this and say, you know.
By the way, I'm promoting my podcast. Can you
Right?
listen?
Oh,
She's gorgeous.
that's awesome. Oh, I know she is.
She is. But I'm saying it's like 20 years later, it don't matter.
Yeah.
She was wearing this dress, and it was very form-fitting. I was like, Neve, my God, she's looking good.
And then you saw Barb.
And I saw Barb.
Mike,
She was
who
so
was
cute.
she with?
I don't know. Somebody I don't know. But she was, well, because a lot of people from Stranger Things were there. Like Nancy was there.
Okay.
But, I'm not saying too much. But it was an Emmys party, and it was for the nominees for like supporting.
I was like,
and,
you weren't at the Emmy, so what?
No,
where
I wasn't
were
at the
you
Emmys.
at?
Hell no. But yeah, so it was like guest stars and supporting. So it was that category pretty much. So I saw a lot of people, Samira Wiley and my fucking coworker JR, who will get on the show at some point.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, Samira, and she was like, "What's up?" Because she was like, "Do I know you?"
That's awesome.
Oh God! But I couldn't. I wish I had, but I just didn't. I just didn't.
It's all good. At least you got to see her. And that's the other thing, too, is that we live in a world now where if you don't have a picture, it didn't happen. And it's like, screw that. I appreciate my memories. This is mine alone.
Oh, yeah.
And, like, I did this. And that's all I need. I don't need to prove it to nobody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I saw her.
I mean,
So-
I wasn't in the position to take pictures. It's like if I had been bold enough to talk, and then she would have been like, "You want to take a picture?" Yes, I do.
Yeah.
You can fire me in a moment. I don't care. But since she offered, so yeah,
That's really cool.
And the other thing I want to say is I apologize for sharing that article about John Carpenter yesterday because it wasn't true. Because people were saying that he was talking all kinds of shit about he needs credit for Get Out, and he inspired
I didn't even
it.
get a chance to read it because you took it off pretty
Somebody
quickly.
retracted, and they're like, "Oh, I'm sorry, my source was bad." So I was like, "Ugh, I'm just not investigating."
So was it like a misunderstanding in communication, or he literally didn't say anything of the sort?
I think it was a misunderstanding, but the person who wrote the article retracted very quickly. So I was like, let me just get this shit out of here.
Yeah, right.
So guys, I'm sorry. I don't want to spread false information. And on that note, apparently Jamie Lee Curtis is coming back to Halloween.
That was one thing I wanted to bring up with you and get your opinion about it.
I was happy with H2O, man.
I know.
Wrap it up. But now I'm just really confused. So apparently this is going to be after the second movie?
It is. No, so this is why I wanted to bring it up, because there seemed to be like this initial reaction where it was like, she died, what the hell? I almost tweeted about it, and I was like, well, technically you didn't see a body. But then I went back and I looked up some older articles about the announcement of this movie anyway. First of all, I love the people who are behind it. I think that they could possibly do a really good thing, and it is going to be different. Danny McBride, he was in Alien Covenant, so he's a fan of horror. I trust him so far. But yeah, as I read back just to get all my facts straight, yes, they have decided to make a movie based on the first two movies.
Yeah.
That is it. So their storyline is 40 years after her first run in with her brother, and I actually love that idea. And I'm not saying like yay more Halloween movies, but if you're gonna do it, that is a really interesting way to do it. And John Carpenter even went on record, was like, I fucking love this, run with it.
I think I'm just confused because it's like 40 years after, which I was like, oh, that's cool. It's like we're gonna get it 40 years later, like the other one was 20 years later, but it's supposed to be quote unquote the third movie now.
Yes.
So it's just confusing how H2O is 20 years later, but we're going to pretend like that didn't. And Halloween is so bad for doing this, where they're like, we're going to pretend that these other movies didn't exist.
Well, that's the thing now. I mean, obviously in the, fantasy world, you can't just, alter time and go back and just erase every movie that's come out that you didn't like. This is the real world in a sense, and in this we have to do that. I mean, DC is doing it now where they have an entire production company.
You're right.
Where they're not even going to even worry about that universe. They're
You're
going
right.
to do whatever the fuck they want because they love the characters. And again, if they're going to do something, I like this, and I love the fact that Jamie is not completely over it yet, and
I feel like she was over it with that last one.
exactly,
she was like, kill me.
she just didn't. I mean, I would think she'd put her 2 cents in.
If they can get her to come back, then it must be something special.
Yeah, and I also think it's funny that how old is Michael in this story?
Like 70?
Good luck.
He's gonna come after somebody with the fucking walker.
Well, I mean, again, we haven't seen
'Cause
him
he walks.
run in any of the other ones,
Get it?
so he clearly won't. I just got what you said. He clearly won't be running in this one, so they better think of a reason for these people to be falling down and having them catch up. But we'll see what they do.
We'll see.
But
We'll see.
I
I
welcome
guess-
it. I'm cool. But a lot of people really didn't know that it was going to start from from Halloween 2, and I would hate for H2O to non-exist, but
Yeah, because that
that's
was a
what's
good
happening.
entry. But
yeah.
we shall see. I will reserve my opinion until next October. So
Yeah.
anyway, what else? What else?
All right. So, any of you guys who are a fan of horror also enjoy TV? Maybe you watched the Emmys last night. It looks like the horror genre definitely took home a win. Well, actually, 2 wins in particular. I wanted to bring up that Black Mirror did win 2 Emmys for Outstanding TV Movie and Outstanding Writing for a TV Movie
Awesome.
for the specific episode of San Junipero. Am I pronouncing that right? Yeah, Junipero. Okay, now you haven't seen this episode, right?
I don't think
So-
so. I've only seen 3.
So this is
Or four.
this is season 3, and it's non-horror, but it definitely works in that whole technology bit, and it's sort of like Avatar, where you basically put yourself in this simulation and you live out any decade that you want. Or maybe it's only one decade that they've chosen, but I think you pick the specific year that you would like to just live through, and you just continuously live that day over and over again or something. I have to watch the episode
Sounds
again.
awful.
But no, it's actually pretty fucking amazing.
No,
Like,
I mean the experience.
Oh, well,
no, this episode I'm sure is great.
yeah,
but
they're thinking of actually making this a sequel, which would be a first for Black Mirror to actually go back and find out what's going on. But they focused on 2 women who fell in love with each other,
oh,
and their relationship, how it blossomed just from being in there. But it was the way that the episode was told, the story. Like, you had no idea what... Because Black Mirror is an anthology, right? So you have
Yeah.
no idea what world you're living in, what technology you're
Right.
being dealt with. And so the way that they executed and showed you exactly what technology you're dealing with, I thought was brilliant. And it was literally just a love story being played out between these 2 women. It's fascinating, and if you do watch another one, it needs to be this one.
okay.
And again, just the fact that it comes from a supernatural kind of horror show and also a gay themed episode winning this, kudos. So I was
Awesome.
really happy about that.
That's awesome.
One other thing in TV news is that I did tell you about Scream 3 season 3.
Right.
They have decided for their 6-episode binge night run, the original Ghostface mask is in play. They are bringing the mask back, and you will see it in season 3. So I thought that was
Oh.
kind of cool.
Wait, the original from the movies?
From the movie.
Oh, thank God.
Yes, from the
Okay.
movie. Yeah.
I was like, the TV show mask was whatever.
No. No, the
I'm so
actual
happy.
mask is coming back. Now, I don't know if it's still going to be tied to the movie at all, but they are bringing the mask back.
Well,
So
that's
that
at
should
least-
be good.
That's one good thing. All right.
Yes.
Excellent.
So I'm actually kind of excited, and they have some more cool people and players in it. The woman from Scream Queens, I forget her name, Kiki Palmer. I think her
Kiki
name-
Palmer?
Yes, Kiki Palmer's in it. Billy from Power Rangers, the black one.
Oh,
Yeah, he's in it.
cool.
Yeah, so, and I liked his performance, so I'm hoping he does pretty good in this one.
Very
I
cool.
don't know if Tyga is the lead. I know I told you that before, but I think it was like one of the first confirms of
I
the
feel
cast.
like Kiki Palmer has more star power
Yeah.
behind her, and it's like these shows usually don't revolve around a male character. So
Yeah. No, the Power Rangers actor, I think he's the lead.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, now I'm actually excited for it. So,
Awesome.
Yeah.
That sounds great. All right. Cool.
cool.
Very exciting.
But yeah, I just wanted to bring that up.
Nice.
And then just a quick shout out to the passing of Harry Dean Stanton, famously for Aliens, in as far as the horror genre goes.
Hmm.
That's pretty sad.
Yeah, very creepy character actor. He was in some other movies I can't think of, but his face, he does like some very eccentric characters.
The scariest that I've seen him in is that he played sort of like the leader in Big Love. Do you remember Big Love?
That TV show?
Yes.
I never watched it.
Okay, well, he was sort of the big papa of that one, and he was just terrifying.
That does sound that whole idea in general is creepy.
Yeah,
Sorry.
he was in throughout most of the series, and like, man, he was tough to watch. Yeah,
I bet.
he laid down the role. So
Gross.
Yeah, sorry to see him go.
Yeah. Well, he lived a long life. He was 91. It's a good life.
Yeah, that is pretty good.
Yes.
Alrighty. So, should we talk about our topic today?
Get into our shorties.
Yeah. So, we decided to do an episode based on little creepy critters, good or bad. They were a predominant type of villain back in the 80s. I think most of what I remember from these little guys.
But they've stretched out even to now.
Yeah, they have.
I mean, it's few and far between, but yeah, in the 80s, you're right. They were big.
They were really big.
There was like some like popular ones and then a lot of knockoffs.
Yeah. But yeah, I wanted to bring this up because there are a lot of them actually, like, and I made a joke that size doesn't matter, but it's just like don't let the size fool you. Like, they were a menace to be fucked with. Like,
yeah,
they caused some damage, whether it was mischievous or just plain out evil. It was
the reason that they're scary. One reason is that they're so small, they can covertly fuck up your life.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm going to tell my sister to listen to this episode. She's going to be like, no, you give me nightmares. My sister has this, not affinity, but maybe like this proclivity to be repulsed and terrified by small creatures.
Yeah.
She doesn't like small things, guys. You hear that? So Cat's Eye, that little troll, which I watched when I was older. I was like, that little thing is pretty creepy.
It's a messed up creature.
It's creepy. I mean, and that's the end of the movie. It's because it's an anthology. The rest of the movie, I don't give a fuck. It doesn't even matter. But that little troll is scary. That scared her. The movie Troll, that troll scared her. The Gate, those little tiny demons, and there's lots of other monsters in that movie, but it's those little demons that she hated. She hates small creatures. Gremlins didn't really scare her. Critters, she hated critters.
Yeah.
So it's like all these small things, and I was like, oh, I never realized that until recently. She doesn't like these small little things, and maybe that's it, where it's like, you see something big coming towards you, I know where you are, and I can hide, and I can run.
Yeah.
But small things, they'll just crawl under the door.
Yeah.
Or out of the wall. So,
well, they're also underestimated too.
Yeah.
You think just because you're bigger, you can take them down, and then you find out they have a little bit more skill and more bite than you'd think. And then one thing about Cat's Eye though, I actually saw that movie recently. It was part of a marathon trilogy.
Oh.
It was part of a triple feature that I went on at Egyptian. They showed Creepshow 1, 2, and Cat's Eye. So it was sort of this Stephen King anthology night.
Cool.
And I saw Cat's Eye. I went with a couple of friends who had actually never seen Cat's Eye, and they were fascinated with the troll. Like, even though the movie is, however old, that troll made an impact.
Yeah.
Just with like its creepy noise and like its mission to take like little kids' breath and sort of its human features too. Like, it held a knife.
Yeah.
And it like flipped the mom off. It was so but it was evil and just creepy and just running, like, you hear the little pitter patter, footsteps and. But yeah, that troll was pretty. Oh God! And my other thing is that who knows where they come from? But it's like, who makes their clothes? Like, he had on like this gesture hat with the bells and everything.
It's like, have a good day at work, honey.
I think it was the teeth that I found to be more terrifying. Like, you open its mouth and it's just got these layers, and
like
that
a little shark.
But it was just laughing and mischievous. It was just.
I think that the first image of the wall sort of just opening, and then you see those little eyes glowing, That was scary.
The three fingers,
like plugging her nose.
Yeah,
it's like that's what he's
like
made to do.
Yeah,
So gross.
yeah,
So gross.
But yeah, that was a good one. I actually got scared by that one when I was younger. Now I just kind of
if I watched it now, it would probably still disturb me. I'm not a child and I don't have any kids, but it's creepy. He's very creepy. All the other ones are kind of laughable.
Well, I think that was just kind of based on the fact that from the 80s point of view, they were kind of made, not to be made fun of, but it was more...
It was campy.
Yeah, it was. That's the word I was looking for. It's like campy, but still kind of scary.
Still fun. Like, that's the one that's probably terrifying. And yes, Gremlins is more of a comedy. The first one is scary.
Yes.
It has some very intense moments, but for the most part, they're outside singing Christmas carols and they're just mischievous. Even Critters, I mean, it's very violent.
Yeah.
But even they're like, talking to each other and laughing and just having a good time. So, and I think it's the same director, or at least somebody has something in common with Gremlins and Critters.
Yeah.
So, they're meant to be kind of funny. Troll, it's just over the top. It's cheesy.
Yeah.
What am I saying? Julia Louis-Dreyfus is in that. That was her first
she
movie.
was?
Yeah, she gets
funny.
turned into like this sexy wood nymph, and then she's evil and she's running around.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. It's really random, but see, kids, she's on Veep now, and it's nominated for all these Emmys, but she started in horror.
Who knows? If it wasn't for that horror movie, she may not be in Veep.
Yeah.
Thank horror people.
Yeah, I mean, that was like her first paying gig. So, hey.
So, thing about Critters, this wasn't his first horror, or this wasn't his first gig, but I think it was his first sort of major horror movie. Mr. Billy Zane was in that.
Oh, right, he was the boyfriend.
Yes.
Yeah, he got eaten. I remember that.
Yeah, I didn't know that, and when I was looking this movie up, I saw that he was in that, and I thought that was kind of funny. And the dad was the same dad in Freddy vs. Jason.
Oh, he's so creepy.
Yeah.
He's like a creeper to me. Yeah. I think because he was on an episode of Supernatural where it was funny. It was set in Indiana, and they would sacrifice their children or something, or one of the children.
Yeah.
He's such a creeper to me. I don't know.
And then, of course, Dee Wallace was the mom.
Was she?
Yes.
She's the horror mom and everything.
She is.
Swear.
And that's the thing, too, is that even though she didn't have... And that's the thing, she would always play this character where... the mom power would kick in when it came time to protect her kids, and she would always take a licking. Like, I don't think she ever was in a movie where she didn't get bit or maimed or something. And
she still kicked ass.
But there was this moment in Critters that I have to bring up. It's not scary related, but I just thought it was cool because in the 80s, yes, they tried to scare you and keep everything in suspense and terror, but they still reminded you that you were looking at people and characters and they're going through a fucking ordeal.
Yeah.
There was a moment where they had a moment to breathe. They were kind of like locked up in the house and, the critters were outside or whatever. And they were like locking all the windows and doors and stuff. And so the mom, she was caretaking to the husband and the son was running around, locking all the windows. And, she's like, did you lock all the windows? And the kid's like, yeah, I locked them all. She was like, well, check again. And she just yells at him. And then they had this moment where they look at each other and then they like hug each other because they're frustrated. They're scared as shit. She knows she didn't mean to yell at him. And I was just like,
yeah,
there's no reason for this. But also
this
family like loved each other.
There's creatures
and,
outside trying to eat us.
Yeah. And I was like, wow, the director actually made a point to just like show the frustration that this family is going through. And I don't know. The moment just stood out to me. But Dee Wallace is, she's the tits.
That's cool. I mean, I remember, and I don't even know what I was looking at, but I saw that she was the mom in another movie that we haven't even talked about. It's so random, and it was weeks ago, but I was like, oh my God, she's the mom in this movie. Mm-hmm. She's been in like 6 horror films where she's someone's mom. It's crazy.
She's got a movie coming out now, or I think it might be in limited release as we speak. It's a Christmas movie where she protects her home from assailants, I think. But it's some like sort of dark comedy Christmas movie, and she's like the matriarch in that. So I'll be looking to watch that too. But those little critters, though,
they're terrible.
They were like, first of all, like the teeth alone, like you get one bite from them and it's
done.
It's kind
Once
of
they
almost
latch
over.
on, yeah, it's over because they're just,
I don't even
they're
know.
so fast.
Yeah, but yeah, I think their skills, like, first of all, they can drive spaceships. I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah.
I don't know how they worked that out.
So
But,
random.
but they escaped from a prison, so it's like,
right.
wow, like they were, I mean, that's like Stitch status, you know?
It is.
Yeah,
That's
like
funny.
they were that bad. Like you had to
Except
put them
they
in a
couldn't be
prison.
converted. That's really funny.
Yeah.
So Lilo and Stitch is actually based on the movie Critters, not the Ugly Duckling. Oh my god.
Have you seen Critters lately?
No.
So I watched it over the weekend. Turns out that when they landed, yeah, their main goal was to get this family, but it was the bounty hunters that caused like way more damage than the critters ever did throughout that
Oh.
whole movie. Because all they did was just shoot up the whole town talking about
Right.
where are the krites. And then randomly they run into the kid and lead him to the critters. But it's just like, bounty hunters are like, were the villains of this movie.
That's true because they don't care.
No.
I mean, it's like, I don't know if I'd call them the villains, but it's like they have a job. These things are really bad, and we need to contain them. So it's similar to other movies where it's like there's an outbreak of some sort of virus. Like, what was it? The Crazies. They just tried to nuke the whole town.
Exactly.
Because
Yeah.
it's like, we can't let this get out. Yeah, I can understand that.
I mean, they were kind of put in this like gaze where they got really weak if they were stung by their little like
that's right,
little
they had
needle
little-
things. But they had this really weird like pus like growth thing that was happening from the mark, but it didn't really do anything but just make you tired. But I always wondered if they were like infected with something because turned out they were fine afterwards. But they never really talked about like the after effects of them getting hit. But
Yeah.
I thought their skills was pretty crazy. And then randomly one of them just grew to the size of a freaking giant.
It's always
But-
got to be that one.
yeah. But
That's funny.
they had some comedic moments in it. They kind of poked fun at E.T. because the critter was like looking
Yeah.
at that doll and was like, "Who are you?" And he wouldn't answer, and then he just ate him.
Yeah, I remember that.
But yeah, those movies are fun. I like
That
them.
reminds me, once you talk about like the little porcupine quills, it reminds me of the movie Splinter, which I haven't
Yeah.
seen, but it's like, that's one of the worst examples of size doesn't fucking matter. That shit is, you're over.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I haven't seen it, but I've seen all out the imagery of just these little,
Yeah.
and that's another one that comes to mind, and I just cannot watch it. I can't do it. Is the movie Slither. And there's all sorts of mayhem going on in that movie.
Yeah.
But those little slug things.
Yes. Yeah.
I can't.
I watched it once and I remember being very entertained by it. The use of makeup in that movie alone was
No, it really
genius.
I think that's why I can't watch it, because it looks so real. Whoever worked on that, they did a good job, so good that I can't watch it because I can't do gross stuff.
Yeah.
I can't do that. It just looks, the texture's too much.
Yeah. And I will say this since you brought it up. I think if you do little creature features, that it has to be done with practical effects or puppetry. I have now noticed that anything small sort of done in CGI doesn't really get to me as much as it would if it was practical effect. I mean, there are a couple of other examples that I can bring up, but it's just like, not to say that it's a total loss if you do CGI, it's just the way that you do it. I think because with CGI, they're so clean and smooth looking that it doesn't really give a creepy factor.
Some
You
of
just
them
kind of
do.
concentrate on the face and that's it. But like sometimes the body and everything don't look, not to say that they're like cuddly or whatever, but it's just, I don't know. I just get more of a creepy vibe when they're done
No, I get it.
in a different,
I
you
mean,
know.
especially depending on what era it comes from. I mean, sometimes, like in the 80s, it's still like, yeah, it looks fake. But sometimes the animatronics were really well done. But one example of CGI that's, for the most part, really good is The Mist.
Yeah.
And there's lots of big things in there. But the small creatures,
Ooh, those spiders in there, yeah, with their, because they had like human teeth or
like-
something too. Oh my, yeah, that was actually
and those
pretty
little,
creepy.
the flying, the bugs,
Yeah.
the big ones, those were still good. But those little ones, they looked very
No,
real.
that's a good example.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
No, I
they're
agree with you.
terrible.
Yeah.
They're terrible.
Remind me, the gate Were they CGI?
I think that was like the beginnings of. It was like a combination of stop motion animation, but there was definitely some computer, like I don't know what it's called, but it's like that cross dissolve.
Yeah.
So you're putting like the film over on top of the film because, like, when that guy lands and he falls apart and he turns into them.
That was so creepy.
That's not animatronic. They had to do something on there. So there's a lot of stop motion animation in that film, I believe.
What'd you think of The Gate?
I loved it.
Yeah.
That's one of those movies that scared the hell out of my sister. So I was like, let's watch this shit. But it was still scary. And I remember watching it when we were older. I don't know if she watched it with me.
Yeah.
And she's like, I can watch it now. But we were both scared when that giant arm comes out from under the bed.
Oh my God.
Because it was like one arm, but then it like really reached.
That actually scared me because I didn't expect that.
We didn't either because we forgot about it.
It was like, okay, yeah, it didn't
got
reach
away.
it, and then they got away.
It was like,
yeah, that was actually
fuck
pretty
you,
good.
long arm. That was just so much.
Ugh.
Yeah, so all of these like there's some other ones that.
So it's funny in Gate. Did you notice that was the first time that they played Light as a Feather, Stiff as a Board? So even before Craft, they did that. So they threw this big party and they lifted the brother up, and it actually worked. And nobody at the party was freaked out. I was like, "You guys just levitated a boy in the like. Why isn't everybody like creeped out right now?"
So this is something I thought about last night. You remember Buffy the Vampire Slayer?
The movie or the show?
The show.
Okay.
There wasn't nothing in that movie. It was season 4, the Halloween episode, when they're trapped in like a frat house, and there's this demon that's being summoned because somebody accidentally decorated the house with a demon ritual.
Yeah.
And at the end, the demon actually is summoned, and they're all like, I am da-da-da. And he's so tiny. And she just steps on
my
him.
God, that was so funny.
It was such a fun twist.
The brilliance of Buffy writers, man.
Yeah.
That was so funny.
It was so great. Because it was such a great episode through and through. And then you had that little... It was so good.
That was good.
I loved that one. Another one. Alien.
Yeah?
The face huggers.
Oh, yeah, the face huggers, yeah.
You know, it's like they're not the main thing, but it's like those little fuckers contribute. They're horrible. It's like once they latch on, you can't get them off, and if you cut them off, they're still gonna kill you.
Yeah,
because of their little acidy blood.
Yeah.
So I think people will not always think of the smaller creature, or at least like maybe the embryo, the first stage of the creature. Stranger Things has something. Like, what are those little they look like caterpillars.
I think I remember what you're
at the end
about,
when he was like, bleh, he threw up into the sink, and I was like, what is that? Why did he do that?
Yeah.
And there's even some sort of egg. And I forgot about it. I was like, oh yeah, they did walk past some weird egg. And it's like, what is that? Why is there an egg? Why? So, there's something that came out of it. I was like, all these creatures, it's like they start as something and they might get bigger, or they might just be little and ruin your life.
Yeah. And then of course the popping
when
stomach
he's
thing. Yeah,
little,
like
it's still like the chest buster.
Yeah, that
so
was gross. I do want to bring up Gremlins a little bit, specifically part 2. Do you remember part 2?
I loved part 2.
But
that was a straight up comedy.
Really enjoy part 2. I thought the characterized versions of them actually was pretty clever.
They were all
in
very
my opinion. I do like the different variations from the lab, and that movie actually had a ton of people in it.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Christopher Lee, for one, was in it, and it's so cool to watch him do comedy. I don't care what he does. Anytime he's like not in a serious mode, I just think it's funny. But I do want to bring up I guess we can call her a trans character. Because she was born a man gremlin, and then she drinks the thing and then becomes a woman. So
her name is Greta.
Yeah,
I just found that out.
I found that out too.
A name.
Yeah, I didn't know she had a name either, but I looked at.
That's really funny.
But yeah, I would say that she was a trans character actually. But I wish that she had a bigger part. Well, she didn't really say too much, and then she like concentrated on that guy the whole time. But
That's so funny. I really thought they were gonna make a third one, and they wanted to, but then they didn't.
Yeah.
That second one was definitely a departure from the first one. I loved the first one, but the second one was pretty much just a comedy. The spider was very disturbing.
That was a good one. Yeah, I like that one. They had the lightning one, the vegetable one.
The vegetable.
Yeah, the bat one. I love the bat one. I love how it specifically just went after Homie. It's like they remember him too, because like those gremlins came out and they like the one who before he turned to a spider, he had the Uzi and he was shooting at Billy and he called out for Billy, and I'm like, they must all have Gizmo's memories or something.
I wonder if that was part of the original concept, where it's like these are kind of the same ones, because even the little leader, he's not called Stripe.
No.
He's called Mohawk, but he looks the same as Stripe when he's a baby until he comes out, and then he doesn't have the fuzzy stripe, but he has like this sharp quote Mohawk. So I feel like that was mixed in, and then maybe it just got lost. But yeah, they're sort of like the same ones. They're different.
And man, how meta was that movie though? I mean, just literally from beginning to end. Like, do you remember that little intermission they had when the film broke and they went into the audience? And there was so many like nods to the first one, and just the fact that gremlins are, exist outside of the realm of the... I thought that was really clever. And Looney Tunes, like the cartoon, was involved a lot.
Yeah, it was good. A lot went into that movie.
It did go,
It didn't do well, did it?
No.
So
it's so everybody weird. Wanted it to be sort of creepy and a little bit, mischievous or whatever. And then, like, I love how they concentrated on Phoebe telling one of her disturbing, depressing stories. And they're like, no, we're not doing this. We're not doing this.
It was so funny. Yeah, it wasn't... It was good, yeah. That first movie was like, oh, so dark.
So you heard that they are making another one.
I heard. I mean, they've been trying to do it for like, what, 20 years?
No, it's officially happening, and the director or writer did say that they are going to make it darker. I don't know if it'll be full-on scary, but what they're going to do is put a plot point in there on the idea of killing Gizmo, because they have, I don't know if it's going to be like a scene where will they, won't they. I think it just needs to be talked about, because the second one, the only reason why it happened is because Gizmo was a fucking hard-headed little creature. Like, stay in the fucking drawer. Like, homegirl will come get you and we'll go home. He would not stand still. And then John Ashton, a.k.a. Gomez from the TV Addams Family, he was a janitor in that movie, and he's fucking around with that water fountain. And it was all because Gizmo would not stand still. Like, he just had to get out. It's just like, we can't have this keep happening. Do we need to get rid of you? And they said that they were going to question that in this third one. So you can just kind of imagine where they're going to go with that. But I thought, I welcome it. I think it's going to be cool. And they are doing practical effects. We will not see, well, from my understanding, we won't see CGI gremlins. So,
I mean, if they do it, as long as it's textured properly, just like in The Mist. Because, I mean, they did like stop motion animation with the bat flying.
Yes.
But we'll see. Yeah. We'll see. I will try to reserve my opinion. It's like, I do feel sometimes sequels have an expiration date. And I know that they want to revive old series, just like they tried to do with Ghostbusters, and a lot of people, they didn't really take to it. Made a lot of money, but people just were like purist or whatever. I don't know if I'm necessarily a purist, but I do enjoy Gremlins. I'm not sure how I feel about it being darker, or I mean, we'll have to see.
Yeah, so. I think with sequels, it comes down to not necessarily just wanting more of a character that you actually love. It's more about, is there more story?
Right.
I don't, I can say that I love Gremlins. Like, I just want to see a series and like see them all the time because I had so much fun watching it. But there still needs to be a story. Like, I need a reason to see them again. And, just coming out with another one because we just want more is not good enough.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and so I think if people really think about what it is that they want when they come out with sequels, just stay away from the fact that we just want more. audience are smarter than you think, and they do want a story. They don't just want more.
Yes.
They want a story attached to their favorite characters. You know, and you've done such a good job before. Just do it again. Don't just put them on screen.
Yeah.
So,
because if it's the same scenario again, it's like, well, we know what has to happen. We know that he has to get wet.
Yeah.
So that more can emerge. But also, it's like, we've dealt with this before. So it's like, can we just like kill the little evil ones right away?
Yeah.
And then it's just a 5-minute movie. So we'll see. I wonder if Phoebe Cates is going to come out of retirement.
I know. I would love that.
Probably not.
Did you watch any of the Ghoulie movies?
I started to, but it wasn't for me. I know that, what's her name? Mariska Hargitay. That was like her first movie.
Yeah.
I was like, what? This is weird. But no, I didn't watch it. I think that's even that's to me kind of one of the results of all of these other smaller creatures. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it came out before, but I feel like it came out after Gremlins and after all of the other ones.
Yeah.
I'd have to look up the dates. Maybe all the other ones.
Well,
were
these are all
inspired.
80s. They came
They're
around,
all 80s,
around the
so they
same
came
time
out,
too.
But it's so similar because it's like these evil little mischievous creatures. What I will say is that they all looked different, so that was an interesting factor. It's like one looks like a rat, one looks like a baby.
They all took on sort of some of them took on sort of an animal-like
Very
feature.
strange.
And as the sequels progressed, they got more diverse. But then obviously the third and fourth one was just pure comedy because then they could actually talk and it was more sexualized and everything. And
that's another.
They were
thing.
even bigger. They even got bigger in the third one too. They were,
always do that.
yeah.
It's another thing, like saying that they don't talk. That's something else that makes these creatures scary.
Yes, I agree.
When
I agree.
when you have that little one-liner, it's like, you're not scary to me anymore.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Ghoulies and Gremlins actually came out in the same year.
Okay, so
84.
see, I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about.
Yeah. I remember part 2 specifically of Ghoulies more than the rest of them, and I think that's just due to my age when I was old enough to watch said television. That's the one that I remember, and they were at an amusement park just causing havoc, you know. But I don't remember the first one at all, and the third one, the college one, I watched a couple of times, but yeah.
No, I didn't watch any of them.
Yeah, but a lot of people did like Ghoulies from, and I guess they were more of a trademark more than just like a good franchise. I think people were just really used to seeing those little, creatures come out and just do some stuff every time.
So, yeah.
So, but obviously when it was done, it was done. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure they'll revive it in the next 5 years or something.
I never got into Munchies either. Did you? I don't. The first one I think was done more in a serious route, and then part 2 and 3 looked like a family movie. One of them had like Lonnie Anderson in it. It was so crazy. But I don't remember if they were aliens or not.
When you say the title, I've heard it, but it doesn't ring a bell.
I'm gonna just show you the poster because I know the poster will jog some memory, if anything. So this was 87. Here.
Nope.
You don't remember that at all. I remember the cover of the movie, but I don't remember the actual monsters.
Yes.
Yeah. But they made sequels and it just got family friendly afterwards. And yeah.
Another one that I've never seen, but I remember always seeing the video cassette when I was a kid. Subspecies.
Oh yeah, and that's Full Moon, right?
Probably.
Yeah.
But it reminds me of The Gate. The creatures look like The Gate.
They did. They were very similar. I never saw Subspecies.
I never saw it, and I was like, I don't know what this is about. These tiny little monsters carrying this woman around. Are they like gonna go like impregnate her? I don't know. It's weird.
Did you ever watch Basket Case?
That's another one I was in.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
But yeah,
I have memory, just little jogs of memory about Basket
weird.
Case. They were really cool because there was so many. This is what American Horror Story Freak Show should have been, was Basket Case, because there was tons of freaky, monstrous characters throughout that whole entire movie.
Really? I thought it was just the one guy.
Well, I mean, it focused on the one, but I think towards like part 3 or 4,
there was sequels?
There was like, oh yeah, this movie had a franchise.
I didn't know. I thought it was just the one guy in the basket.
Kept growing. Nope. And then like every time it was just like these group of monsters who like traveled it got super creepy
This is
and
weird.
freaky.
I didn't know that.
If you were to look them up, Bassett, I think it went up to like 4 or 5 of them. Yeah, it just became like a following.
How about that?
But yeah, it was just based on like conjoined twins, right? And then like
And
they
then one
were
was separated
disconnected.
and he was not happy about it.
Yeah,
but I think
the brother was loyal to it and just kind of kept him around.
he
or
felt
whatever.
bad.
No, so there was a sequel there where there was an actual other conjoined twin, and they like screwed and had a kid and all this. Like they went out on this series, but it was super gross.
No, thank you. The Ruins.
You're counting that as
Because, yes, I am.
okay.
I mean, you can include it in all kinds of things, but it's like a microscopic thing, and it's alive.
Okay.
It's alive.
Yeah.
And it's like, you don't even know the scope of it until you get into the movie, because at the beginning, it's like, I don't know what's really happening. But it's like
It was a very creative.
pods that get under your skin, and once they're there,
It's a very creative villain. I
know?
will say that.
I mean, that's worse than Slither. That's worse than all of them.
Yeah.
Because it's like, it's a seed, literally. It's terrible.
So I will bring up a couple of sort of taller but yet still short little creatures. There's Leprechaun.
Yeah. And
Of course.
He talks a lot, so he doesn't scare me.
Oh, he didn't scare you?
He did when I was a kid, yeah.
Yeah.
Because, he's just like killing people. But, he has so many one-liners.
Yeah.
So he's not
I
scary.
always enjoy that series because of the fact that they took something that's meant to be sort of happy and yay and turned it into an actual creature that, he was kind of fucked up. He was very clever in the way that he was killing people. So I thought that was really cool. And then, of course, Jennifer Aniston, her first role, horror movie.
Which she regrets.
Yeah, I wish she didn't. I'd
I mean-
totally be proud of that.
Yeah, it's like, come on, it was your first big outing. It's fine.
Hey, if this show ever gets big, and she's a guest, I'm bringing it up. I don't care. She
I
can
mean-
walk out all she wants.
And it's fine. Like, that's how she feels, I guess. But hey, it gave you a start. It gave you a paycheck, and obviously the next year you were on Friends.
Yeah.
So it's cool.
Well, I mean, of course, when Leprechaun goes to space, it just loses
God.
its edge, and
When
then
they
kicks
all
it
go
with
to
black
space.
people and smokes weed. That's when it really goes off the rails.
And I remember watching the second one. I remember that one probably more than the first one. Where
I
he's
saw
trying
that
to
in
like
theaters, actually.
That went to theaters.
Yes.
The sequel went to theaters.
Yeah.
Wow.
I saw
Okay.
it. Both of them. Well, 1 and 2 went to theaters.
I know that,
Then
yeah.
it went direct to video. Was
Okay.
third. But
I didn't know the
saw
sequel
the
went.
second one in theaters. That one was nasty.
It was. He was so nasty.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I
Yeah.
like Leprechaun though.
I mean, he's a very iconic horror character because he's a leprechaun. It's like that's our one St. Patrick's Day. So in March we're just gonna have a field day.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's all right. I mean, he don't scare me, but I enjoy Warwick Davis. I'm glad that they kept that series going so long so that he was working and making money.
Yeah. Exactly.
But he's just silly. Don't be afraid of the dark.
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up to you. I did not find those creatures scary at all.
That
That one reveal where the camera was like right in their face.
That's not scary.
That was.
But until then, it's like when things you can't see them and they're moving around in the dark, and it's like this little girl's terrified. It's like it is suspenseful, and they're creepy until it's like right in their face, and it's like, did this thing just fucking speak to me?
Yeah, it kind of the way that the movie played out. It to me it reminded me of like a fairy tale, like a Grimm's tale.
I think it definitely
And
is.
maybe that was the whole gimmick. I personally, from the trailers, wanted a full-out horror movie, though.
Yeah.
And the fact that it involved a child made it even creepier because it's bad to hurt kids. And I just thought that this was a very clever. And the house, the atmosphere, the environment was so good too.
Yeah.
It just came off too fairy tale for me.
Yeah.
So I couldn't get into it as much as I would like to.
Yeah, I think anytime that kids are involved, it definitely ups the ante. And normally, you're not going to see children be harmed on screen. Sometimes there is that departure where directors will go there, and I'm like, it's a shock. It's
Yeah.
probably one of the most shocking things to see a child harmed or killed violently. Mm-hmm. I've heard some things about it, and I haven't seen it yet. So
It's that different kind of horror, and a part of it is because it involves kids, and these kids don't walk out, squeaky clean. Like, yeah,
yeah, I'm sure. That reminds me of I remember when I was little, my grandmother, she told me she doesn't like films that depict evil children or children who are harmed.
Ooh, okay.
And I understand that completely. But one that comes to mind, even though he talks, is Little Miko from Pet Sematary. He's a tiny, tiny terror.
Hey, if there's enough, we'll make a full episode about the little evil killers,
evil children.
But yes, that is a very good
He's
example.
probably the smallest child I've ever seen on screen, just being really terrible.
That,
you know?
yeah, no, I totally get that.
And I mean, kudos to him as an actor. He was like, what, 3 or 4?
Yeah.
He was so young playing that role, and he was able to take direction and like bite someone's throat out, and just it was terrible.
Yeah.
So
that's a good example. I'll take that. Trick or Treat.
Yes,
Sam. Yes, I thought his storyline wasn't my favorite, but his was, it packed a punch. Like, I love the idea of this sort of like old cankerous man versus the trick-or-treater. Like, one hates Halloween and one loves it. And it was just a matter of time before he needed to like not take him out, but just like, like you gonna love Halloween today.
The thing I love about Sam and that anthology is that Sam is sort of the mascot of that night. So he's present in each story. At one point, you see him just kicking it with the werewolves. He's always there. And that's what I loved. I mean, wrong holiday, but I recently watched the Christmas Horror Story.
Okay.
It was alright.
There was a couple of stories.
There were
that
a couple
I loved
twists that
oh
were
my
great.
God, that Santa Claus one was the best.
I mean,
twist.
and I kept like scratching my head the time. I was like, "What is this?"
No,
But then
that
the
was
twist,
the
I was like,
best
"Oh,
twist. That was
cool."
That was great.
But I also saw that kind of coming because I recognized the actor at the beginning of the movie.
Oh, good.
So I saw his face and I was like,
didn't.
"Oh, is he?" I thought it was going to be like he's Santa Claus in disguise and he's upset about whatever. But
Yeah.
But what was missing for me was a Sam.
Okay, fair
Not
enough.
that you have to follow this blueprint, but I needed like something to like carry us through.
I hear you.
To connect all of them, and that's what I loved about that.
That one had that black family with the little boy, right? Who was like, that was actually kind of clever too.
Well, he wasn't possessed; he was replaced.
Oh, replaced. Okay, there you go. Yeah,
And I appreciated that because the song is like, hark ye the bell, and it says something about changeling in there.
Oh,
and I never
okay.
realized that.
Nice.
And I was like, oh, okay, so it's kind of like related to Christmas.
yeah. Overall, it was all right, but yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, there were
We'll get into all that in December, but
Yeah.
but that was what I loved about Trick or Treat was. I mean, I loved the whole movie in general, but Sam just being there and being like the Trick or Treat mascot, and
I enjoyed his kills or his ways of attack was very Halloween themed. Like
lollipop.
biting into a lollipop and making a weapon out of it is
It's
like
crazy.
so fucking clever.
and that could actually work.
Yes,
it could actually work. I mean, that shit it can be sharp.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I loved it, and I loved the creature design.
Yes,
That
very
reveal.
good.
I mean, I was like, he's a little pumpkin.
I know.
Oh man.
Quick question. What did you think about, I mean, maybe it was like self-explained when you watched it. I came up with my own theory, but when he stabs the man, but he stabs the candy and then just walks out. How did you interpret it? How did you interpret that?
I think it was sort of like maybe he knew. Maybe he knew what was coming anyway. Because, he stabs the candy and he's like, oh, well, technically he gave me my candy.
That's what I did.
So
that's what I came up with.
He
is that
followed the rules.
followed the
and
rule.
anyway, I already been down to the beach, so I know that these little bastards are coming for you anyway. Yeah. So
Okay.
that's my takeaway.
Okay, I don't think I've ever asked anybody that question, but I just thought about it, so I thought I'd
I think he's
ask,
like,
but-
as long as you follow the rules, I'm not gonna mess with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of fell under that. So yeah, okay, good. We were on the same page.
Yeah.
Cool. So here's another troll.
Oh no.
Ernest Scared Stupid.
Well, there's really big trolls.
I know he was.
but
I didn't
still-
know if he would count as, but yeah.
But it's a comedy, and I remember seeing them in theaters. They were terrifying. When that one was under the bed.
Yes. And so yeah, she looks under the bed, and then she comes up
back.
and she's like, "Oh, it's just my bear." And then he's just laying there, like quietly,
Yeah.
just.
I know nothing about camera tricks and gimmicks back
I
then,
know.
so I did not.
That was well.
So
he also
scary.
had another moment too. So he disguised his voice to be one of his like friends, and they let him
was
into that little tunnel.
scary.
And then he turned around. And he goes, "I'm over here, Kenny." I was like, "No."
That's right. Oh yeah, he was the girl's voice.
Yeah, he was
he
the
had already
girl's
taken
voice,
her.
yeah. I
That was
was
a
like,
scary kids movie.
Yes, it was. It just reminded me of that
With his,
because he was
like,
really
4
disgusting.
nostrils.
I know.
Like blow your nose.
Yeah, and then Miss Eartha Kitt in all her glory.
The heart of a child.
Yes.
Love it.
Oh man.
But I just thought that deserved an honorable mention.
One other honorable mention, because it's not even the focus of the movie, but Splice, those little creatures that were like, "Oh, I like you. We like each other."
There was little creatures in that
Remember,
one?
it's like it was sort of the like hint, hint. This is what's going to happen to Dren at the end of the movie.
Okay.
So they had these weird little like bulbous looking creatures, and they were male and female, and like they came together and they like imprinted on each other, like these weird little like sort of almost leaf tongue looking things came out, and they like held hands, and it was like, oh, they like each other. And so when they did their presentation to the board, you could already I already was like, oh my god, what's wrong with them? Because they were separated and they were like aggressive, and then they opened up the doors and they came at each other, and the little leaf things didn't come out. It was like spikes came out of their mouths, and they fucked each other up. You have to watch it again.
Wow.
This
I
moment,
do not have any memory of this.
it was terrible because they were like, they tore each other apart, and then blood just splattered all over the board, and they're like, well, we're not giving you any money for your research. So
Oh,
and that's what
crazy.
happened at the end with Dren, because it's like one started out as female, but then she turned into a male.
Yeah.
So when they were males, they were both aggressive and they wanted to fight each other. And that's what happened to Dren at the end. She became a male. So her goal was to mate his goal was to mate and impregnate the nearest female and to kill the other male, because that was competition.
I will definitely have to watch this again because I don't remember that.
I just remember seeing, I was like, ooh, something's weird. They don't like each other anymore.
So I'm gonna bring up one thing, and then we should probably like
Wrap
it up. But I'm gonna show you a picture. Tell me if you remember this character, and I'll post this online.
He looks familiar, but I don't know what movie he's from.
So
Is that from your movie?
this is what I was kind of just thinking, like, you know, what kind of critters like I remember, and yeah, most of them are evil, but this was actually a happy character.
Yeah, he looks cute.
Do you remember the House series?
Oh, that's where he's from.
So this is from part 2. So I'm talking about the green, cute
like a little puppy
caterpillar.
dog.
It's a caterpillar dog.
He's so cute.
So it had the dog face, but the body of a caterpillar, and it was, you know, miniature or
He's still
whatever.
cute.
But it was like this cute little like mascot dog that was in the movie throughout, and I just thought that was so funny. But I thought I'd bring that up and see if you remember him. I just thought that was like a cute dog. And I remember watching House 2 specifically so many times because it was one of those horror movies that wasn't scary, but it had all the elements of just being supernatural and scary and monstrous and
Yeah.
all that. And it was just fun to watch. So
One other thing, real quick. I recently found out about this movie that's being crowdfunded on, I think, Indiegogo. It's a British horror film.
yeah.
It's called Dead Air, and it's about this female punk rock band, and they're flying somewhere. Did you hear about it?
I may have heard, but keep going. But
And it's sort of like Gremlins, but there's these fuzzy little evil characters on the plane, and they have to fight off these characters and get to their next gig.
I believe I read about
But it's
this.
all going to be practical effects, and I
Did
think
they have a trailer for it?
they have a trailer. I think they made a short to be like, look, this is what we're going to do.
Gotcha.
So their goal is to have it be out by this December. So
That's awesome.
We'll see.
That's awesome.
So I have the bitch really this week.
Yes, lay it on us.
It comes from The Mist.
Okay.
So it's the scene where it's at night and all of the little bugs are flying onto the window, and they're like, oh my God, look at that. And then, motherfucker, William Sadler, idiot, starts running around and he's turning on all the lights, but then the big ones are coming and snatching the little bugs off the glass, and they're breaking the glass. They're like, turn off the lights, turn off the lights. And he continues to go around and turn on all the giant lights and spotlight on the glass, and then the giant one comes through, breaks the glass.
Yeah.
Kills a bunch of people, and bitch Really? He was the worst character.
It was like a moth to a flame type of thing, and like he just would not get. He fucked up a lot of people. In that movie.
Up so many people in that movie
and
throughout.
Just from his fear, he literally threw people in front of things. Like God, that man was annoying. I know.
Marsha Gay Harden. I mean, she was so scary, but he was just stupid.
And people like him are the scariest because again, the whole point of this movie was the fact of fear driving you to do some of the most messed up things, and all he needed was somebody to lead him. And you know how deadly he came. Like, the minute he grabbed that knife, I was like,
at the end, he was so easy to convert. Yep.
No, that was a really bad move of him to just be using all those lights like that. Yeah,
bitch,
could have bought him some time.
Stay in Demon Knight. All right, so that pretty much wraps it up for us. Thanks, guys. I hope you enjoyed our little evil creatures,
little creepy crawlies,
our little Skittles. And as always, like, comment, subscribe. Tell us about any movies that we might have left out. I think we covered the scope.
We mentioned a big bulk, but I'm sure there are lots of
1940s, 1950s. Maybe there was something.
Yeah,
who knows?
No, we want to
hear.
The
blob starts out tiny, but who knows?
Yeah.
So thanks, guys, and we'll catch you next time on Bitch I Ain't Scared.